You know what happened to America? A scammer stepped in. A long time ago, our country went bankrupt. And a scammer stepped in, wearing a suit and a tie, and said, I can help you. I can provide a service that you want. I can provide a US dollar backed by gold that you can't inspect. And I can help you rebuild your civilized society, but it'll cost you. Right? And we should have asked what is it really going to cost us? Because everything is an introductory option is usually a really good deal. So this organization, they set up their base camp in a place called Washington, D.C. It's not a state of the United States, as it's a recognized outside entity. Then they set up posts called capitals in each of the territories that they call a state. Defined boundaries, defined roles of responsibility. Right? It's a lot to digest. But what's happened is things are being treated as commercial, or decisions are being made towards a healthy economy. The side effect of that has been humanity is suffering, and there are aspects of the environment that are suffering as well. Luckily, solutions exist for the problems we face. They're just not popular yet. Because if our energy was focused on a healthy humanity and a healthy environment, locally we'd be building healthy economies as a side effect. And we'd be maintaining our energy in a local area. And people say, well, that's like isolationism. But it's not, because we can visit and we can share abundances with others. But we can do it on a voluntary basis, in a way that there's a direct benefit from the producer and the beneficiary. It's a chain of middlemen that make things cost so much. Nature does everything naturally, right? That's just how it works. It can't be advertised any other way. And it works locally all the time. Luckily, locally is happening everywhere for everyone all the time. And when we start supporting ways that benefit our community, that's what receives the energy. Right? And it's amazing what just a small group of people doing any project can accomplish, right? I mean, because just a handful of people over a few weeks can assemble a house. So why do we have so many people without shelter? I don't think we should be paying a landlord $1,500 a month in subsidized rent so that we can house somebody who isn't mentally um, efficient, I guess, or mentally capable of living on their own. You know, they're destroying the walls and floors or whatever. Because I've seen it. You know, I was a plumbing contractor for quite some time, and it's amazing what tenants will do to a rented space. They will destroy it sometimes. It's it's expensive for the landlord to repair the damage that people do. But what if instead of investing into the landlord to build things to a minimum standard, to provide people space to exist that's expensive to heat or cool and maintain and purchase to construct, and recognize another way of doing things, investing into the individual, investing into land ownership. And when a person has a piece of land and they have some freedom to do creative things on it, people can provide for their own shelter. Most areas on the planet get enough precipitation that if collected over a certain amount of an area can provide water all year long. Gardens, all of these things are possible outside the city. Everybody's moved into cities to make their lives more convenient, to make them more comfortable. But a lot of people are stressed. A lot of people are experiencing dis-ease in all sorts of ways. I have a lot of friends that are suffering from diagnoses of cancer or Crohn's or just a myriad of things, right? And a lot of these things are stress related. And when it's always busy and there's sirens and there's fighting or there's dangers, you don't really get a chance to ever really feel a calmness. But when you live outside of the city, you get the opportunity to feel quiet. What is it to just be quiet? Right? Try to do that for the next 15 or 20 minutes. Just try to be quiet. And don't look at anything. Just quiet your mind. And you might recognize pretty quickly that there's a whole lot going on that's consuming a lot of energy. You know, it's like having a bunch of programs running at the same time on your computer. stress is a real issue. A lot of people are experiencing it, and some are medicating themselves in various ways to avoid it, to avoid the feeling of it. But instead of medication, we need to implement meditation. I share a 30-minute guided meditation under hashtag heavily meditated underscore AAH for because it helps you to remember how to relax. So anyway, our country has been taken over by corporate entities, and the solution is to localize everything, to unincorporate from somebody somewhere else telling us what to do, and live naturally as best you can, to align with how your great grandfather and grandmother would have lived, because that was more real. We've been gently moved in a direction that has resulted in alignment with what's normal to the idols on television programming, right? We live in a cult. You're being shaped by broadcasted images and ideas. It's being channeled through media into your homes, into your minds, to see and think and act a certain way. If we live in a civilized society and we spend trillions of dollars a year maintaining that, why is there homelessness? Right? Why is there homelessness? Because it's only regulations that are keeping people without shelter. It's taxation. It's stealing people's homes. It's inflation. The theft of the dollar without taking it from your wallet. These are little aspects of the big picture of what has happened to our society to reduce freedom, to raise the burden to exist, so that people are so focused on making money and handing it over in so many directions that they never realize who's truly screwing them over. We're like batteries. We're like sources of energy. We have the ability to create things. And people that have never created things before have begun to create things because they have an idea and then they put action behind it. And then maybe they've never nailed a nail before or hammered a nail, right? And with a little practice, you can get good at it, right? If you try it the first time and it bends or you hit your thumb, you may never want to try to do it again, right? But if you if you keep doing it and you pay attention and seek a mentor, right? Let somebody help you with the learning curve, shortening the learning curve. Give you some tips and tricks, some safety ideas, things to watch out for so you can keep all your fingers intact. But it's empowering to swing a hammer and then hit a tiny little nail on the head and drive it in through the board and join that board to a structure. And then after doing that many more times, being able to sleep inside securely and comfortably in a house built by your hands. There, there's a lot of people, who are very comfortable in what they're experiencing because they're not addressing the reality of it, right? If you're insulated from it and you don't engage in it, then it just doesn't really exist for you. But we need to ask ourselves if the person who's experiencing a tough life really isn't that much different than me, what's keeping me from experiencing a difficult life, right? Because all sorts of things happen in people's lives that goes from one way to another. Are we happy because we have money? Or are we happy because we have health? Right? Money means nothing without health. Things mean nothing without health. What are the things in your life that you want? If you could have a foundation of 4 items in your life, what would they be? I move as many of my now moments into a way of creating health, happiness, peace, and abundance for me right now. And when I'm doing that, I'm building a life where my cup is full. And when my cup is full, it's really easy to share. Because how much do you really want to juggle, right? If your cup is already full, anything beyond that is really, really easy just to let go. And when you do that, you're serving as an inspiration for other people because they want health, happiness, peace, and abundance in their life. Most people do. You can choose for you whatever you want. That's your free will. For me, that's what works. To create a life that I like waking up to every day. I've traveled around the planet a couple times now, and I've seen areas where people weren't as happy as where I'm living right now. And where I'm living right now is one of the worst places well, criminal statistics, government corruption, murder, drug trafficking, all of these things, gang activity that happen in the cities, happens right here in Yakima pretty often. but I've seen places where it was a lot worse. And with the abundance that we really have in the world, there's no reason for people's lives to resemble hell. That's the thing, is we all have free will. We get to choose. Are we choosing our the way we spend our time, our right now moments? Are we choosing them consciously or compulsively, aligning with how we've just always done things? Because just because we've always been doing something in a certain way doesn't mean it's the best way. I mean, there's just ways of doing things that just make more sense. But if they're not popular, sometimes people are afraid to explore that idea. Insurance companies and different lobbying groups have created an idea of what shelter or housing is supposed to look like. Most of this has been done for profit and built to a minimum standard. We should be building to a maximum standard that doesn't catch on fire so easily, not so easily destroyed by water or wind. I mean, even as a child, I'd see the news about tornadoes in like Texas and Oklahoma. I was thinking, I'm like, what? Why don't they dig a hole in the ground and like go into the ground with their houses, right? And I mean that would make more sense than spending another $60,000 on sticks and petroleum stapled and glued together, right? I mean, because let's do what makes sense. Anyway, if we start making our choices in the right way towards what we want to see in our life and help others along the way, we're going to lower the drug dependency that we're currently experiencing, because people have a new outlook that the world's moving in a direction that they want to see it go. Sometimes the people who are suffering the most, they've experienced enough of this system to see it for the truth. And so they're not willing to participate. And so they escape the reality in whatever ways they know how. Right? I really feel that we can build a better world, better future for our children and grandchildren and Native Americans. They try to do their life in a way that it will be positive for the next 7 generations at least. Planting trees, not polluting the environment, not creating debt for others to pay off, being aligned with nature, living with awareness of the seasons, spending a lot of time outside. These are all things that are seemingly lost in this society. So, anyway, have a good night.